Hello, how are you? I hope you're having a fantastic day. The rumors are true. Marvel Heroes Omega has risen from the ashes, resurrected through an open source emulator project. Did you invest countless hours into this game only to have the servers abruptly pulled out from under you about 6 years ago, right around Thanksgiving? If the memory of that loss still stirs a vengeful fire within you, then you're in for some exciting news. Despite the naysayers who doubted its revival, 2023 has brought forth a project that aims to breathe life back into Marvel Heroes server. Today, I'm here to guide you step by step through the process of creating and running your very own private emulated server. Together, we'll navigate this journey of gathering the necessary components and executing the required steps to get you back into the game. Before we dive in, I'd like to manage your expectations a bit. To keep in mind, this project is still in its infancy, and for now, the experience will entail exploring an empty world as your cherished hero, adorned in your favorite costume. While it might sound modest for many who have yearned for even this much, it's enough to evoke tears of joy after the prolonged wait. The very first thing you're going to want to do is download the client if you don't have it already downloaded. If you have owned it on Steam in the past, you should be able to go to Steam and get it from there. If you don't, you should go to archive.org and search for Marvel Heroes Omega 2.16a. Do not use the BitRaider clients because the servers are long gone and you won't be able to download the content this way. And also stay with the 2.16a version, don't use any others. And don't try to post about this on the Steam community forums. For some reason, they think it's against their community guidelines, and they'll just ban you. And if you came here to debate the legal issues surrounding private server emulation, you can close this video right now. This is not the one for you. Just go ahead and about your day. Don't even worry about what I'm doing. With that out of the way, you should go to github.com and search for MHServerEmu, made by Crypto137 and others. This is the open source project for the server, and you'll want to go into the document folder and look for the setup or getting started instructions so you can follow along. Now let's download Apache. We're going to click on the link from the documentation where it says here. Let's try that again. So you're looking for Apache 2455, and you can use the non-64-bit or the 64-bit. Doesn't matter which. You just want to download one of these. We'll go with the 64-bit. When it's finished downloading, you're going to open it up. And then you're going to want to open up your C drive of your computer. You can do that by just opening a file explorer. And you want to put it on the root directory. So take this Apache 24 and drag it down to your root directory and let it copy the files over. And after it's copied over, you want to go into the Apache folder and look in for the conf directory. And then the httpd.conf. You want to right click it and open it with Notepad. And then you're going to do a control find or control F. And you're looking for load module, rewrite module, modules/mod rewrite.so. You can just copy that from the instructions. Once you locate this line, you want to delete this pound sign in the front. So that's uncommenting it. And then you want to do the same for the next module name. And then once you locate it, delete the pound sign to uncomment it. And then finally the last one. So now that you've got those uncommented, you're going to save it. And then you're going to go into the extra folder and look for the httpd ahssl conf. So you're going to open that with Notepad. And you're going to want to find the virtual host default 443 line within that. So you're going to open this, copy it, and do a control find, control F. And then once you've found that, you're going to want to do the next step on the instructions that says that you have to add the following 2 lines. So you want to highlight this one, copy it, and you want to paste it in. Doesn't matter where, but as long as it's inside this block. And then you want to do the same for the next instruction. So this first one we did, and now this one we have to do. And it's not just this first part, it's the whole thing. So you want to copy that and paste it. And then you want to save this. So then the next step, we have to put the siteconfig.xml in the directory of the Apache 24 htdocs. So you can do that by clicking this link. Instead of left clicking, let's right click and go to open link in new tab. And then you see this download button right here, download raw file. You want to click that. You want to keep it. And then just click the little show in folder button so you can find it. And then try and open up your other folder as well. So you want to go back to Apache 24 and then go into htdocs. And then you want to take that site config that you downloaded and put it into there. So our next step is to open the client config XML located in Marvel Heroes data configs. So you want to open up your client files. Essentially, we're going to go under, if you downloaded it from Steam, it'll be under program files x86 and then Steam, and then look for Steam apps and then common and then Marvel Heroes and then data. And then it said to go into configs. So then right here is your client config file that you need to edit. And what you need to do with that is we're going to change a value. So right click your client config, open it with Notepad. And if it doesn't have Notepad, just choose another app and then choose Notepad. So then mine is already edited, I believe, but if you look at the instructions, it tells you what to do. You have to look for the site config location value. So look for this. Don't replace this one, replace this one, this value part. So you need to copy this right here, localhost site config XML. That's what needs to go into this part. After you've done that, you're going to compile the Marvel Heroes server emulator project into an executable that you can actually run. So to do that, you're going to need a Visual Studio app, which I recommend personally using just the VS Code, and you can download that from Microsoft. So you can download it from code.visualstudio.com/download. And then once you are on there, you'll download the installer for either user or system, depending on what you want, what your needs are. You probably want to just do user, more than likely. And then you're just going to proceed through the setup. You have to accept the terms and then put it wherever it wants to put it. then just go ahead and finish. And it's going to launch VS Code. You'll probably get a first time setup, but you don't need to do anything there. So then the first thing you want to do after you've got VS Code is add the dev kit extension. So this second result right here, C# dev kit, you want to install that. What that does is allow you to build C# projects and execute them. Okay, and then that does take a minute to download and install, and it's actually still doing more. It's saying downloading .NET, so give it plenty of time, let it finish doing all of this fun stuff. And when you see it say done here, then you can move on to the next step. The next step we want is to download the Git for Windows. So click on this source control and download Git for Windows. And do you want to open? Yes. So it's going to take you to here. Then you just want to click 64-bit Git for Windows setup. And let that download and install this also. You're going to have to approve this prompt. And just go next, 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 all through it. Next, next, next. Has a lot of next. And then once it's finished, you're going to hit finish on this and go back to your Visual Studio Code. And then you're going to probably have to restart Visual Studio Code. See, now it says we can open a folder or clone a repository. We want to clone a repository and then clone from GitHub. And then it says it wants to allow, so you have to hit allow. And I guess it's going to force you to sign in with your GitHub account to be able to clone from GitHub, which is kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay, you don't actually have to sign in with your GitHub. So what you do is you just go to the GitHub here, and then you click on this code drop down, and you copy this link. And then you just hit cancel if it's asking you to sign in. And then you go to clone repository and paste the URL. And then hit enter. And then it prompts you, where do you want to put it? So you have to select your C drive. And then I would recommend just putting it right here on the C drive. So hit select as repository destination. And now it's cloning the GitHub into our C drive. And would you like to open the cloned repository? Yes, you want to hit open. And then, yes, I trust the authors. And then if you get this message, SDK cannot be located, I believe you have to hit this get the SDK also and let it install this as well. Then you want to hit download .NET SDK x64. And then you're just going to hit install. And yes. This will take a long time, and this is a lot of stuff to have to do just to build this app, I know, but it's early days, and this is what you get for being on the bleeding edge. So you can just be patient and not do this process and wait for it to become more of a standard user experience where you'll be able to just download one thing and run it and you'll be good to go. But that's not today. So if you want to do it currently while things are still very early and fresh, this is how you got to do it. So after that's done, it still says there was no SDK found. So you got to close out of Visual Studio again and open it one more time. Okay, and now you can open it up. It'll automatically open for us, or you can go to open folder, and you would point it to the C drive and then your MH server MU folder. That's how you would get to this. So once you've got it open, if you want to make sure it's up to date, what you have to do is go to your source control, and then I believe it's going to be under fetch. That should pull in any changes that they've made to the server. If fetch doesn't get the changes, instead try doing a pull. I don't know what the difference between fetch and pull are, but we just want to pull in whatever changes might be out on the server on GitHub. So right now we are on step 7, which is to compile the MH server MU with the Visual Studio or whatever tool you prefer. So to do that step, now that you've got it in this position where you've updated it and you've installed your add-ons and everything, what you want to do is go under the Run menu, and then you're going to do, one sec. Okay, it's actually going to be under the Terminal menu. So under Terminal, you'll go to Run Build Task, and it'll say .NET Build. So you'll click on this .NET Build, and it's going to say it's extracting, and it's going to do the build. This is the status of what it's doing right here in the bottom. And it says it's building right there. So just give it a few minutes. It's going to take a little bit. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. So I know it looks like there was an error. It doesn't really tell you that it's done or anything, but this is what it looks like when it's done. So our next and last step is going to be copy the calligraphy SIP and the MC or MU underscore C data .zip, and that's going to be located in the Marvel Heroes data game folder. So we want to go back into our Explorer. We want to go back into Marvel Heroes data. So go back to data and then go to game. And then inside this game, we're supposed to get our 2 files here. You want to right click and copy them. So you just select that or hit Control C. And then at the same time, you want to go back to your C drive and then go into the MH server MU and then the assets folder and then the GPack. So because there's no GPack here, I don't think this is the correct location. So what you want to do is actually go back and then go to the SRC folder and then the MH server MU folder and then assets and then GPack. And that's where you actually want to put those files. So you're going to right click here and go to paste or hit Control V. So now you've got the 2 files in here. This important thing will tell you that that's what you should have done, is put these 2 files next to it. Now, just to cover your bases, it does say that you can also put it under the source, bin, debug, net6, assets, GPack. So I like to put it in that place as well, just to make sure that this is going to work and I don't want to have any problems. So now you're going to go back to the source and MH server MU, and then under bin and debug, net6, assets, and then GPack, and then just put it here as well. Just paste those 2 files in the same spot under this other location. So now you should be covered. It won't have any problem finding those files. So now before we actually fire this baby up and get in the game, what I like to do is create a couple of shortcuts to some different things. So the first thing I like to make the shortcut to is under the game folder. So if you go back into the program files and then Steam apps, common, Marvel Heroes, and then if you don't have the Steam version, yours will just be under C:, and then Marvel Heroes, most likely. But once you get in here, you want to make a shortcut of the executable. So under Unreal Engine 3, and then binaries, Win64, and then look for this Marvel Heroes Omega, and you want to make a shortcut of this. So just minimize all the stuff, and you just want to right click and drag it to your desktop and say create a shortcut here. And then you want to right click and go to properties on this, and you want to add on a couple of things. So right here where it says target, at the very end here, just make sure your cursor is at the end, and you want to put space minus no steam, and then space minus robo copy. Just like that. So then hit apply and OK. And then for good measure, you may want to run the redistributable files that it gives you in here. So it says this install dependencies. If your computer is missing any of these, you probably have to run these and install them. And if you've got an AMD computer, you probably need to run this one too. I have an Intel, so I don't have to worry about that one. But these other ones, you might have to just run them, make sure that these are installed. Otherwise, your game client is probably going to crash or not run or have some kind of weird error. Okay, and then the next thing we want to make a shortcut to is going to be back on your C drive. And we're going to go under the Apache and the bin folder, and then look for HTTPD right here. So you want to right click, drag it to your desktop, let it go, and put create shortcut here. And then last but not least, we need a shortcut to the EMU, server EMU. So you want to go back into the MH server EMU folder, and then you're going to go under source and MH server EMU, and then look for bin, I believe, debug, net6, and then this right here, MH server EMU. This, you're going to right click, hold down, drag it to your desktop, and create a shortcut. And there you have it. So the last stuff you do now is you start up your Apache server. So you want to just double left click this. And if it opens up and it just has a blinking cursor and nothing else happens, then you did a good job. It's working how it should. If it just immediately closes, you got a problem. There's maybe something that you did wrong with the files or where you put them. Make sure it's got to be on your C drive. You want it on the root of your C drive. Don't put this Apache folder anywhere other than the root of your C drive. And if you get this pop-up, just put on check on both of these and hit allow. Okay, so now that you've got the Apache running, then you want to run the server emulator itself. So just double left click this. And so when I open that and it just immediately closed, that means there's a problem with it. So to figure out what the problem is, we're going to type CMD to open a command prompt. And then you want to do a CD space ... to go back, and then another CD space ... to go back again. And then dir will give you the list of the folders. So then you want to go into the Marvel Heroes server EMU. Actually, I'll show you a quicker way to do that. So if you want to go back to the location, you want to just hit right click your shortcut, go to open file location. And that'll put you right where you need to be. And then you can just click up here at the top and type in CMD and hit enter. And that will open up a command prompt in that location. So now you're in the proper spot. So then we're going to just type the MH server and just hit tab, and it should autocomplete. And then just back that off and then type EXE. Okay, so it says you must install or update .NET to run this application. So somehow I failed to do that. So we got to install the missing framework. You got to click this link. I think you can just hold the control key and click it. And then it'll open up, and then you can download the .NET 6 runtime. And you want to get that for the x64. And I don't think it matters if you do the console or the desktop. Do you want to run desktop apps that use .NET? I don't think it matters. This is a console app that we're trying to run, so just do the run console apps one. Hit the download on that and get that installed. So you're going to run this download that you just downloaded. And then say install. And yes. And give that a couple minutes to process. Okay, and the installation was successful. That didn't take very long at all. So you just close that, and now if you go back to your command window, and then we could just try hitting the up arrow, it should put the same mh server emu.exe, and then just hit enter again. Okay, that is what we want to see. So you should see the banner, MH server emu, and then it's going to give you a couple lines here saying that it parsed some files and that the auth server is listening and the front end server is listening. If you got an error here instead, it could be that you didn't put the files where I showed you for the SIP files. So just go back and do that step over, or you can always jump on the Discord server and ask for help if you're having some trouble. But if you followed exactly how I showed you, you should be seeing this kind of screen as well. One other quick thing I wanted to tell you is this config file right here inside your debug net 6.0. This config file, you can open this with Notepad. And this is the settings of the server. And on this settings here, you can change some things. You can put a name for your player. You can also pick what starting region you want. So it's going to be on the NPE Avengers Tower hub region by default. But let's say you want your hub region to be Xavier's Mansion. So you would right click and copy this and then replace this right there. You don't need a comma or a period or anything after. You just want to replace this with whatever region you want this to be. And then, so Black Cat is the default also if you don't change it here. But if you wanted to play, let's say your favorite character is Dr. Doom, you would want to look for Dr. Doom in this list, and then you would highlight it and you would copy it and you would replace it right here. So that's how you set your character for now. In the future, you'll probably be able to actually switch heroes from right within the game, but that is not the case currently because things are very fresh and very new. So then your costume override field right here too, you can actually set a costume. So let's say I'm going to be Black Cat and I want to know what costumes I can have her wear. So on your server emu, you can actually type a command here. You could do like a exclamation mark. And you could do exclamation mark commands. It'll tell you what commands are available. And the lookup is what we want to use. So you do exclamation lookup. And it should give us costume is the subcommand. So you want to do exclamation lookup space costume space Black Cat. And then this will give you the list of the potential matches. So any of these should belong to Black Cat. You should be able to use them as your costume, and this would be the number you want. Depending on what costume, you just want to highlight and copy this number, and then put that number right here for costume override. So that way you can customize your game experience a little bit. All right, so other than that, you're good to go. You can go ahead and open your game client and connect, and there is no password needed. There's no specific account or anything yet. You just put anything you want. Just put in whatever valid email format. You got to put an email address. It doesn't have to be real, but you put an email in and then you put a password. You just make up anything, put some random characters. It's not going to check it. It'll just let you right into the game. And other than that, if you get an error like an HTTP error or something that the server is not available, then that would be probably you don't have Apache running. So you want to go back to this HTTPD, make sure that you got this running. And if it's not, that's probably what your issue is. If you get an error when you try to run the HTTPD, you probably have a problem with the Apache configuration file, or maybe you've got something running on your computer that's already using the HTTP port of your machine. So whatever things might be using it, like antivirus or something, you might have to disable and then try running this again. But it will not work unless you've got this black window with the blinking cursor like this. This is very important. And then you also have to have this server emu running. All right, so if you got any questions, please don't leave them here on the video. Instead, go to the Discord channel and then ask for help on there. And the Discord, you can get to the link just right on here. And then right here, if you want to ask questions about the emulator or help with the development, feel free to join the Discord, and that's your link. So you go ahead and click that and join in, and I'll see you in there. If you know any talented developers that would be interested in helping on this project, the more the merrier. There's 3 active developers right now, and they could really use some more help. And especially with packets, if anybody recorded network packets of the game when it was live, those would be very valuable, and we would love to get a copy of those because that will help us in the effort of trying to revive this dead game. Thank you very much, and good luck. Have fun.